Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Hammer. Today is Tuesday, October 14th, 2025. Welcome to Hammer Live. I am Hammer, founder of Originator Success, Grab and Go Social, and also Rate Sensei. Remember, you can join me live each and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Love having you live. Most of the show is actually better enjoyed live. However, those of you that do watch us later in the day, thank you. And if you do that, do me a favor, just give me a hashtag replay in the comments. Always appreciate you doing that. We get a lot of vanity stats. I like to see who's actually watching. When you guys take the time to put hashtag replay in the comments, it shows me that you actually watched. So thank you so much. Remember, if you want a reminder and you'd like to start joining us live, you can go ahead and get a quick text alert. We send it out each morning, and you can sign up for that at hmmr.io/reminder. That's hmmr.io/reminder. Or you can use this cool QR code on your screen. George, tell them, what have they won today? What do they got today, George? Tell them, what can they do today, huh? So I'm joined here by George. He's feeling extra lovey this morning. He wanted to come in and get some lap time. So George is hanging out with us this morning. We're going to talk about what we got going on coming off of the Columbus Day / Indigenous Peoples Day / who cares what we call it day. But it was a federal holiday, although it's not a real holiday. Bonds take off. However, stocks traded yesterday. So we're going to go over what we got going on with markets, what we think is going to happen with rates this week, where we stand on the government shutdown. And we'll take a look at some of the other headlines and see what's going to affect housing and mortgage rates this week and today. So again, thank you for joining me. If you're here live, good morning. Let me take a minute and say hi to all of my live friends here this morning. Mike Tebow, first one in this morning. Good morning, sir. Great to have you here. Holly Johnson, great to have you. Thanks for joining. Megan Bissell, good morning. And Michael Love, good to see you, sir. Mallory Fotiadis, Deb Dickinson, you guys have been here you come every day, and you've been here for so long. Thank you for sharing the time with me. Taylor Henry. Taylor, I don't recognize your name, so welcome. Amy Blauser, Jerry Avila, also some long timers. Yasmin Martin, Ryland Maddox, Ron Siegel. Good morning, sir. Ron bringing us the days of celebration. What do we celebrate today, Ron? He says today we celebrate National Dessert Day and celebrate Bald and Be Free Day. All right. Well, I am not truly 100% bald. However, yeah, it doesn't all grow in there. So I am shaved. So let's go with the bald and beautiful. I am for sure. And otherwise, question of the day today: what is your favorite all-time dessert? What is your favorite all-time dessert? Since today is National Dessert Day, do me a favor, take a moment. We'll circle back. We'll look at your answers. Tell me, what is your favorite all-time dessert? Let's see who else we got here this morning, and then we'll jump in and get started. Mallory, yes, everything went well with the wedding. Thank you. No drama, so life is good. Robert Bashirs, is a 10-year going to get to the threes? I don't think so, but it is flirting with it. We'll take a look at that, though. But no, I don't think it will, Robert. Angela Walters, good morning. Jason Hansen, Brandy Brickler, good morning, y'all. So before we begin, can I be petty for a minute? Can I do me a favor in the comments? Let me know if y'all just give me a pass to be petty for a minute. It's not a big deal, but I want to share something. If you guys tell me it's okay to be petty, I'm going to be petty for a minute. And then, but it's also kind of not petty. You guys let me know, and we'll go back to that. In the meantime, tell me what your all-time dessert is. I'm going to take a look at what's going on in the markets, where we are at this morning. So, nice thing is we are actually seeing bonds flat on the morning. So you can see here there's zero. By the way, somebody reached out to me on whatchamacallit, through our support system for our text alerts. Let me show you something. This is actually not the petty. This part is about keeping you guys informed. And I just want to give you a quick lesson on this stuff. So Bear with me. I'm trying to get the screen on here. All right. So Robert said, my show, be petty. So like Robert, you are a long time, very valued and very appreciated Originator Success member. So I wanted to share with you guys real quick, just one of those things that always makes me laugh. And I think I'm probably going to post something about this on social because people do this. But so I'll be petty for a minute and then I'll get back to the good stuff. So being petty, let me pop this right up here. Here is somebody that was a previous Originator Success member, and then they went and decided to, no longer be a member, which is fine, and I totally get that. But they ripped off our sites. I love when people do that. They use some other builder. They will actually steal our direct images. Sometimes they pay people, and those people will actually go and rip off our direct. But like here, let's see, Jeff Garber. So this is about Originator Success, one of my products, right? And I'm founder. So here's Jeff's website, so you can see, kind of what they look like. And I love it when they rip it off like to the best that they can here, right through outstanding communication, professional support, competitive rates. They pull the exact same, all the verbiage they use. He actually changed the images a little bit, which is this is off of our other site though, so they didn't really change them that much. But it's kind of funny because they pull the exact style out. So if you're going to stop using our service, that's fine. If you want to rip off our sites, that's fine. Because you know what this doesn't have? This doesn't have any of the code in the back that actually helps it rank, gets it rated. It doesn't have the AI. Plus, by the time they're stealing our old stuff, we've already got our new stuff. Robert, if you're not on it yet, reach out to support and have them put you on the new site. This is the new websites that we have for Originator Success. And these are all revamped sites that have all been redone. And again, the reason, because the internet is changing and you want to maximize what these sites do for you and how they work. So anyway, that's my petty moment. Is if I love when people quit our service and then steal our shit. It's just kind of funny. I mean, it's we have the copyright. I could actually go after them, and I don't. My team gets upset because I don't go after people. So anyway, back to the scheduled program. Let's talk about where we're at this morning. So at the moment right now, mortgage bonds now down a whopping basis point. However, Robert, you asked about the 10-year treasury yield, 4.04 right now. Yes, very unlikely to break below that 3 mark again. 3 is going to be right about here. It's unlikely that we're going to see the 10-year break below 3. In order to see that happen, we'd have to see the government shutdown wrap up, and we'd have, or go on so long that we see some kind of economic damage, some kind of idea of economic damage. Remember yesterday, we looked at the economy, the economic forecast, GDP at 1.8% being forecast right now. That's not a weak economy. We would have to see a lot more speculation about economic weakness in order to see that happen. So it's very unlikely that we see this. And rates are not likely to change anytime soon. Let's take a look at kind of rates and pricing and rate sheets here. You're seeing very small movements. This is the lowest number we've seen in a while, 6.32. But I mean, it's only 6.34, 6.36, 6.3. We're still less than an eighth of a point in rate. The best rates that we saw for a moment, a quick window in time, was right before the Fed meeting. And then if you remember, after that Fed meeting, they started to tick a little bit higher. And this is kind of where we went after the Fed meeting. And since then, it's almost a month. Today's October 14th. You're looking at, September 18th, almost a month that we have seen rates just really, I mean, look at using Mortgage News Daily as a reference point, and he does a kind of a blended rate sheet thing, and I mean, we just, whether you're looking at the VA rates, look at VA rates here. You're looking at VA rates that were 6.05, 6.07, 6.06. We have not seen rates move in a month. They've been very, very stable, very small day-to-day movements, and that's very much what we're likely to see and continue to see happening. Expectations of a Fed rate cut at the end of this month, even without the jobs data, 100% expectation. So we didn't get the BLS jobs report at the beginning of the month, but that didn't hurt us. Remember, we didn't get that because the BLS department is closed as part of the government shutdown. That didn't hurt us because there was no change in any expectation that we were going to get another rate cut. And also in December, markets now almost 100% pricing in expectation of another rate cut. If we take a look at where that was compared to a little while ago, you can see, I'm going to switch this to yellow, just it's a little bit easier to kind of see. A month ago, it was right about here, a week ago, and then boom, now it's almost all the way up to 100%. Markets really believe that the Fed is going to be forced to take action and cut rates by a quarter point in October at the October meeting, a quarter point at the December meeting. We want to be looking into 2026. It's a 50-50 right now. This would be, remember, right now we would have one rate cut would be here. This is two rate cuts. This is the idea of a third rate cut right here. So markets are basically 50-50 whether we see two cuts and a pause for January or two cuts and another cut for a third cut in January. But by March, markets believe, again, right now we're at 4. So we would be at, this is one cut, this would be two cuts, this is 3 cuts, this is 4 cuts. Markets are basically 75% that we will have at least a third cut by March. This is what markets are currently pricing in. Now, if we see a lot of economic strength, if we see labor market recovery, that's going to blow some of this out of the water. It's also going to push bonds higher. Rates would creep higher. So when we see some of these things that are in Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, JP Morgan traders, bankers beat estimates as deal making picks up. Diamond calls out a weaker job market, inflation as provisions rise. This one here, the executive, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon, big name in the financial markets, raising the specter of a weakening labor market, but sticky inflation. This is stagflation, basically, right? As his bank, it's the idea. Stagflation is when you have a weakening economy and yet inflation continues to soar. A weakening labor market, sticky inflation as his bank reports provisions. And this is what they're basically looking at. We've seen some signs of a softening, particularly in job. Now, my argument is, have any of you ever heard of the term the fourth industrial revolution? Let me know in the comments if you've heard of the term fourth industrial revolution. Also, no, we're not going to get no, we're not getting the CPI. That's a great point, Ron. I am so excited. I get to know something that you aren't already in front of me on. We are not going to get the CPI from BLS this week. We're going to get it October 24th, Friday, October 24th, regardless of the shutdown. So CPI October 24. So we are going to get the CPI. It'll be released on Friday, October 24th. Happening despite the potential government shutdown. Social Security Administration needs the data. This is what Ron's talking about to calculate the 2026 cost of living adjustment. The September CPI report was originally scheduled for October 15th for tomorrow. So it is coming out on, I hit the wrong thing. It is coming out on Friday, October 24th. And that will be regardless of if we have the shutdown or not. We're going to get that CPI data because the government needs it. Therefore, it's essential. So the government needs it for the cost of living increase for Social Security. So that's going to be the way that one goes. Ron Siegel, you need to put some backdoors in there to mess with them. Put an expiration date on each site. What they do, Ron, is they actually just go and copy all the info and put it on their site. If somebody cancels with us, our site, that's not our site. Our site is loaded with that. It's just them stealing the data, but they're missing so much. Again, it's kind of like putting, remember when you would get like a Fiero, but they put like you could put the Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. You could put that Firebird on the hood, but if it's just the base Camaro, it's still a base Camaro. You don't have what's under the hood, and they don't have what's under the hood. So my team gets mad when I don't like send them cease and desist orders, but I don't care. I don't care that people want to steal our stuff. There's more than enough to go around, and it's better than any other crap that they would have had. So, but here you go. The fourth industrial revolution. Let me tell you a little bit about the fourth industrial revolution and why this is relevant to what we're talking about. It's 1449. We're going to wrap up at the 20-minute mark, y'all. So just so you know how long I'll be babbling and where we're going. So the 14, yep, no, Ron, and that's not a correction. That's just sharing information with you. I'm not correcting you. You were, that's not how I look at it. You know that. So, Michael Walker, though, here it is. The fourth industrial revolution. Let me Google it for you. The picture is easier. So, fourth industrial revolution. So the idea is that we have had industrial revolutions. Let's see if I can bring it up full screen to get you a better picture here. So, like, the first industrial revolution was mechanization, water power, and steam power. That was when we had the industrial revolution. We were able to make things. Think the printing press, right? Think when we were able to start making factories. Then factories was the second mass production assembly line. This is Ford. Ford revolutionized manufacturing by the way they did their assembly line and the way that they created things. And it's why the U.S., by the way, was able to win, I believe it's World War I. When we got entered into World War I, why we were able to come in and just rock things. And also by the time we got to World War II, the same thing. And that's why our manufacturing really is a national security issue. The fact that we've lost the ability to manufacture, because that was what helped us to become the dominant force in the past and win what we've won. Now, the third industrial revolution happened basically in the early 2000s. That was computers and automation, where factories became robotic and where we created computers. So that's really the 90s kind of is that one. And then the internet, of course, the internet gets kind of lumped in with this, although it really took off in the early 2000s. And then the fourth, this is where we're at now. This idea of cyber physical systems, are basically smart stuff is what they're calling it, right? So the fourth revolution is all the smart stuff. And my point about bringing this on is that AI, all of what we're seeing with AI and all of this, it is going to affect job growth. We're absolutely seeing how this affects job growth and the labor market. I mean, it's a huge thing that's going on here. This is a disruptor. AI is not going to replace everybody, but it does change the way we work. I'm incorporating it into Hammer Solutions. Y'all know I'm not a big fan of AI. I'm using it more. I'm very aware of AI, though. I'm very educated on it behind the scenes. I'm growing more and more educated on it on a regular basis, because it's actually starting to become more relevant now. And it's been how long have we had this whole AI craze? It's been at least a year, but probably even longer. And but anyway, this is the fourth industrial revolution. The idea being that even if the Fed were to cut rates, even if they were to try to stimulate things, you're not necessarily going to see the labor market respond, because corporations and companies, our world is changing. Our US, our society is changing. Western society is changing, especially in America. And corporations own farming, they own pharma, they own everything. They own food. When you hop off the interstate, all of the restaurants, there's no mom and pop shops anymore. Remember, there was a time, we're talking Little House on the Prairie, where a family would own the general store. Right? There was a mercantile, and there was a family. It was a family business that would provide goods for the town, for the townspeople, for the people outside of the town. And what that has all become in the Walmarts and Costco's and Sam's Clubs and just every, what are some of the, Home Depot and Lowe's, and everything's corporation and corporate. And corporate is about profit and driving profit to the shareholders. And I feel like that's one of the downfalls of Western society. And it's going to be one of the biggest downfalls, I believe. But that is their case. So when we look at what's going on with the job growth, I think that we're not necessarily going to see the reaction that the Fed is able to make any changes and moves to that. So that's why this is such a big deal. But anyway, my friends, let me throw up the lock advice. And well, you know what, Robert? I would love to talk more about this too. Minimum wage we'll come back to this because we're at 1925. I was always against this, and I'm now more for this, and I'll tell you why. The problem isn't that minimum wage would drive up costs. It would, but here's why. Because corporations aren't willing to share the profits. That's the problem. The problem is corporations, we need employee-owned corporations where the money stays within the corporation and the employees that are making it. That's what you need. You need employee-owned corporations, because the problem is the money gets pulled away from the employees, and there's tremendous profits that are made, and they're shared outside of the company, outside of the corporation. And that money, though, that money pulled away from the employees, shared outside of the company, that because of that, they're not going to give that up. So it would drive up costs. But it's why we're in the middle of the government shutdown right now. I mean, whether you agree with the Democrats and or not, they're trying to save the subsidies for healthcare. And we could argue that, yes, there are things that are intertwined, or how that money is used towards illegal immigrants or different things. But one thing that's definite is how it's used to subsidize health insurance costs, which are not real health care costs, by the way, health insurance costs, because the insurance companies are a bunch of thieves too. So anyway, that's it for that part. The problem with unions, the way that the unions are now, they've been broken, and they're just as corrupt as everything else. But yeah, I mean, that's what unions were originally formed for. And they were a very powerful part of fixing things. Now they've just become a shell of what unions were before. They're just as corrupt, just as broken in many cases. Again, not all cases. It's, and all of this does affect things. By the way, do you guys mind when we talk? Like, I have 31 people on. I should watch the numbers. When we get off mortgages and home stuff, kind of gets away with that. Do you guys like when we're going in this direction and talking about that stuff? Holly said she was just at a realtor meeting talking about AI being the next wave, and the realtor next to me said, "And the next industrial revolution." I looked at her like she was crazy. No, it really is, Holly, and it will be. It's going to change things tremendously. Remember, we can talk more about it. So anyway, I'm going to wrap things up, my friends. Thank you so much for joining. As far as Lock Advice goes today, I would be locking things closing the next couple of weeks. We can cautiously float to start the day, but there's no urgency to lock. Look at where we've seen rate sheets. This isn't going to change, but right now we are on the lower end. So if you want to take advantage of that for loans closing in the next couple of weeks, it's never a bad time to lock those loans up and just call it a day. But I mean, we're really not far. We're majoring in the minors. There's not much. It's all rebate pricing. It's just getting them a little bit more towards their closing costs, a better credit, or maybe a little less in points if they're trying to buy down a rate. If you see some hot spots on your rate sheet where you can get, a better rate by paying a little bit, it's definitely worth locking those in, because they're going to come and go. And I think you guys know what I mean by that. If you can get somebody 5 3/4 instead of 6, or 5 7/8 instead of 6 1/4, and they're paying a half a point, and then the next day that's just not there, they'd be paying a 1.5 like if you see those windows, it's definitely worth looking for those and taking those. But otherwise, we're really not in any danger of seeing rates move higher from here. Not yet. There's no sign of a break to the impasse of the budgets and the government shutdown. Nothing really that's going on with any of that. So let's get back to the question of the day. What is your all-time favorite dessert? I'm going to go ahead and look at some of your answers, and then we're going to wrap it up for the day. So some of the all-time favorite desserts that we see here. Oh, today's Mike Tebow's birthday. Happy birthday, Tebow. I should pay attention to that on Facebook, and I haven't been. So thank you, Ron, for pointing that out. Mike Tebow, thank you, and happy birthday, sir. Jerry Avila, he's a cheesecake guy, loves some cheesecake. Mike Tebow, German chocolate cake and key lime pie. Well, I hope you get a German chocolate birthday cake today. And I'm definitely a key lime pie. I like a key lime whip pie is one of my favorites. Cheesecake with caramel, strawberries and caramel are great too. S'mores cheesecake from the Cheesecake Factory. And thank you for my congratulations on the wedding and everything going well. We appreciate it. Let's see. Good morning. Let's see what else you got for anyone else have any that they want to share. What's their favorite all-time dessert? Let me know in the comments if you want to share. Carrot cake, dude? Really? Carrot cake? Oh, that's so surprising. So surprising. And Robert, thank you. I appreciate it. And because I want to know what you guys want the show to be. I mean, and I've looked. My replay stats are way down, but my live stats are way up. So I think we're going to focus on the live stuff. Holly Johnson. After the presenter finished, you agreed AI will take over most of the appraisal. Some realtor and loan officer function. Sounded like 5 years we could all be one job. It's possible. It depends on how society wants to adapt. Remember something. We still have bank tellers. There is no actual reason to have bank tellers. There's no reason you couldn't walk in and have 5 ATMs in a row and that you couldn't do all of your banking with an ATM, an automated teller. It's absolutely, we have the technology. It's cost efficient. It's cheaper than paying staff, but we want to deal with people. And that's why we still have banks and still have tellers. So as much at the end of the day, you can go in and there's kiosks to order your food now from fast food places. And because we don't care about dealing with somebody behind the counter to order a burger when they do it wrong anyway. I like being I'll go to the kiosk every time because I can customize my order. Whether they get it right or not in the back is a different story, but it wouldn't have been any different if the person in the front keyed it in for me. But when it comes to a lot of the things like with the home buying process, AI is not going to be able to replace that human element. We will all have jobs, but our job functions are going to change. But that's happened for decades in the loan origination world anyway. Holly Johnson, key lime pie and cherry cheesecake. Is there, Mike's got a good point. Is there a bad dessert? There is. There are some bad desserts. But you're going to force me to have to think about it. Holly said they did try that at some Chase branches around you. And how did it work? What'll happen is it won't. It definitely won't. It struggles. But as an industry, they're still around. So people want to deal with people. That's the main reason most of us have a job. It absolutely is, Robert. You absolutely get it. So, all right, my friends. Well, thanks again for joining me. We'll see you tomorrow. And I'm going to work on improving the quality of the show a little bit over the next couple of days and get a new format. So hope you all have a great one. Thank you again for joining me. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.